2/3 of prisoners are rearrested and half reincarcerated within 3 years of their release. Addiction, poverty, and a lack of housing all play a role. But as Amna Nawaz explains, in Florida, voting could be ultimately what lands some back behind bars. It is part of our series, Searching for Justice.
She has a business.
Yeah.
Miko Atkinson is no stranger to the hustle.
All right. I've been in elementary school and having my parents buy a bag of lollipops, and I gave it to my bus driver to sell to everyone on the routes.
But that sweet start turned sour 15 years ago. Convicted of identity theft, Atkinson served 2 years in prison.
Wasn't really a bad person. Maybe took a few turns the wrong way or in the wrong direction.
Now he's launching his own culinary business in Lauderhill, Florida, building on a lifetime of experience. And a pilot program started by Vice Mayor Melissa Dunn.
So what's new? What's going on with the business?
The aim, teach ex-offenders how to run their own companies in the hopes of keeping them out of future trouble.
You're more likely to care for your neighbors if you feel connected to them. And when you're disconnected, when you're separated, I believe that puts you at risk and it puts the community at risk.
Income and housing offer stability, but to truly feel connected, Atkinson says he needed a voice, a vote.
When you go behind the wall, you're pretty much told that your future is done, that you'll no longer be able to be a part of the future. It will take place without you. So to get those rights back and reclaim those rights and to actually have a state or to actually have a mark or actually have an input in the future, I think that's amazing.
A 2018 constitutional change, Florida's Amendment 4, offered most felons in the state a chance to restore their voting rights. Over 1 million more Floridians could now potentially cast their ballots. But figuring out who was actually eligible turned out to be much more complicated.
Voting right restoration used to be on a case-by-case basis in Florida, but Amendment 4 streamlined the process for anyone, excluding those convicted of sex crimes or homicide, who completed their sentence, an estimated 1.4 million people. The Florida legislature added more terms. All fees and fines must be paid off, bringing some eligibility estimates down to 500,000. And they required voters to legally swear to their eligibility before the county and state recheck their status. But there's no database or surefire way for those in reentry to know their debts are paid in full.
Why are they doing this to me? That's what you're getting. I didn't do nothing to nobody, man. Voter fraud. What is voter fraud?
20 arrests this August. What Florida Governor DeSantis called a fraud crackdown laid bare the confusion and failures in the system.
Like voter fraud, I voted, but I ain't commit no fraud.
All 20 of these voters received registration cards from their county, despite being ineligible due to the nature of their crimes.
God told me that I was free and clear to go vote for whatever cause I done my time. Yep. I was free. I ain't owe nobody nothing.
A Miami judge recently dismissed one of the cases on jurisdictional grounds. But back in August, DeSantis warned there could be more.
So this is the opening salvo. This is not the sum total of 2020.
And I think that this really has a chilling effect.
Chris Eugen is a professor in sociology, law, and public affairs at the University of Minnesota. His research suggests people who vote are far less likely to be incarcerated again. But high-profile arrests are also likely to dissuade even those who can vote.
If somebody tells them that they have the right, they're going to be skeptical. And I think this is one of the reasons that observed turnout rates tend to be low, even when rights are restored, because people do fear prosecution, as I think any of us would.
Are you at all worried that you could end up incarcerated again?
Yes. I am worried for the fact that I voted in 2020.
This woman, who we're calling Colleen, spends her retirement years advocating for reform in the state's prison system. Formerly incarcerated herself, she applied to restore her voting rights under Amendment 4 and received this registration card in 2019. She cast her ballot in 2020.
Walking into the polling place was awesome because I actually just stood there when I first went in and just breathed. Like, I can do this. This is so good, I can do this.
Watching the governor announce the August arrests, Colleen says she felt compelled to double-check her own records online and found outstanding fees the county clerk and state didn't catch.
If someone like you, who knows these systems, got it wrong, what does that mean for the rest of the population?
That is a very scary thought, because most people don't know how to navigate the system. I did, and I took the word of a clerk rather than navigating it myself.
Days later, Colleen sat out the primary, even though the county sent her, still technically ineligible to vote, an updated voter registration card. State Representative Blaise Ingoglia is a former chairman of the Florida GOP. He backed the legislature's addition of terms to Amendment 4 and the creation of the governor's election police force. We asked him if someone like Colleen should face prison time for voting in 2020.
You're saying that you know that all of your rights have been restored, that everything has been paid, and they're testifying and they're attesting that it's a yes. So in that instance, it's on the person who is filling out that information to have that information and know what the correct answer is to that.
So you believe that person should go back to prison? I
think that we should be straight. We should really fix the system so it becomes easier for them to get that information.
Colleen's story is not unique. In reporting this story, our team spoke with several offenders who applied to restore their rights, were issued voter registration cards, and even voted. Only after speaking with us did they realize they might be ineligible.
It seems like we're being not just locked up, but being locked out of mainstream society.
Giovanni Cyrus finished a 17-year prison stay in May of 2020. He's devoted himself to helping the formerly incarcerated navigate re-entry and working to restore his own right to vote. As best as he can tell, there's about $1,400 in outstanding fines and fees still in his way.
We work hard like everybody else, and we've made mistakes like everyone else. And we do deserve a second chance. And the second chance should not come with a hefty poll tax.
He is determined to one day cast his first vote and urges other ex-offenders to fight for their right too.
Don't give up. This is an essential right.
With another election looming, Colleen teeters between following her heart and the letter of the law.
As of right now today, I am very seriously considering voting in the election.
You would consider casting your ballot even if it means you could end up back behind bars?
That's all big, brave Colleen saying that right now. But honestly, when the day comes, I don't know. My head will go back and forth with it, but the reality of being reincarcerated scares me very much.
As our conversation ends, Colleen decides against taking that risk. But adding to her frustration, she says, is the flood of political mail she still receives urging her to vote. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Amna Nawaz in Miami, Florida.